Now here's another astonishing story. You'll have no doubt heard of hydroxychloroquine, the drug that Donald Trump's been taking to help keep him free of the coronavirus. Hydroxychloroquine has been used for years, and early research showed that it was very useful. You might think that governments everywhere might have been excited by this. Not a bit of it. Eminent researchers who had shown that the drug was incredibly useful at preventing COVID-19 were attacked by the media who said it was dangerous. They were told it was dangerous by politicians who had presumably heard it from a bloke who doubtless gave them the news in a brown envelope. The World Health Organization didn't want any trials at all. The French government suddenly classified hydroxychloroquine as a poison. In the UK, government agencies didn't want any clinical trials. They all wanted to concentrate on the stuffing. But there were many demands for some tests to be done, and eventually work was done by researchers who had funding from a bloke called Gates. And before you could whisper the word conspiracy, a comic called The Lancet published a study which claimed that the drug could cause nasty side effects such as heart trouble and death, and so the research was immediately stopped. Phew, thought the stuff lovers, that was a close one. But then doctors around the world flooded The Lancet with letters and no doubt emails and so on, pointing out that the research they'd published was so badly flawed that it was, well, useless and dangerous. The research, by the way, had allegedly, and in my view rather bizarrely, been based on some mathematical modelling, and you'll have heard that phrase before. Other research, done responsibly, showed that hydroxychloroquine worked well, cutting the risk of infection by 80% in people who didn't have the coronavirus. No wonder Donald Trump was taking it. What a pity residents in care homes weren't given it too. Thousands of them would still be alive. The drug is as cheap as chips because it's been around forever and is out of patent. If you want to know the details of the crappy research that The Lancet published, I recommend that you go to the excellent UK column website where there's a brilliant article by Iain Davis detailing exactly what was done. Eventually, The Lancet withdrew the paper, blaming the researchers instead of taking responsibility for publishing the rubbish. Peer review, anybody? Now, by another one of those astonishing coincidences with which you are becoming familiar these days when it comes to stuff and stuffing, I cannot think of any medical journal which has quite the enthusiasm of The Lancet for encouraging doctors to stick needles into people and pump stuff into their bodies. In March 2019, an editorial in The Lancet reported that parents who refuse to have their children stuffed are often required to attend a course on the risks of not stuffing their children.